The sun was beginning its descent over the quiet suburban street of Maple Grove when Sarah Mitchell heard the sound that would change everything, a desperate, guttural whimper followed by the heavy thud of something collapsing on her front porch. She dropped the dish she was washing, water still running, and rushed to the door with her heart hammering against her ribs. What she found there made her blood run cold. A massive German shepherd, her beautiful tan and black coat matted with dirt and blood, lying motionless on the weathered wooden planks. The dog's chest barely rose and fell, each breath a labored struggle that seemed like it might be her last. Sarah's hands trembled as she reached for her phone, but before she could dial, she heard a small voice behind her that would make her pause and witness something she'd never forget. "Mommy, the doggy needs help." Her 4-year-old son, Tommy, stood in the doorway wearing his favorite dinosaur pajamas, his wide blue eyes filled with a concern that seemed far too mature for someone who still believed in bedtime stories and monsters under the bed. Most children his age would have been frightened by the sight of such a large, injured animal. This wasn't a cartoon or a stuffed toy, but a real creature in genuine distress. But Tommy didn't retreat. Instead, he did something that would later be described by their neighbors as nothing short of miraculous. The little boy carefully stepped around his mother and sat down cross-legged beside the unconscious dog. His small hand, still pudgy with toddler softness, reached out and gently stroked the shepherd's head. "It's okay, doggy," he whispered, his voice carrying a tenderness that made Sarah's throat tighten. "You're safe now. We'll help you." Sarah wanted to pull him back, to protect him from potential danger. After all, they didn't know this dog, didn't know if she was aggressive or diseased. But something in Tommy's calm demeanor stopped her. It was as if her son understood something she didn't, as if he could see past the injury and dirt to the soul of the creature lying before them. "Tommy, honey, we need to call the vet," Sarah said softly, already dialing the emergency animal hospital in town. But her son didn't move. He kept his hand on the dog's head, his fingers working through the matted fur with surprising gentleness, and he began to hum, a simple, wordless melody that Sarah recognized from the lullabies she sang to him every night. The veterinary receptionist answered, and Sarah quickly explained the situation. "We have an injured German shepherd that collapsed on our porch. She's unconscious, barely breathing. We need help immediately." "Ma'am, is the animal showing any signs of aggression? Does she have a collar or tags?" Sarah leaned closer, careful not to disturb Tommy's vigil. She spotted a worn leather collar partially hidden beneath the dog's thick neck fur, but no tags dangled from it. "She has a collar but no identification. And no, she's not aggressive, she's barely conscious. The emergency team is currently handling another critical case about 20 minutes away. Can you safely transport the animal here? It's at 1247 Oak Street." Sarah's mind raced. Her car was small, and this was a full-grown German shepherd, probably weighing 70 or 80 pounds. But as she looked at Tommy, still humming and stroking the dog with unwavering dedication, she knew they had no choice. "We'll find a way," she said, ending the call. "Tommy, sweetheart, we need to get the doggy to the doctor. Can you help Mommy?" The little boy nodded solemnly, as if he'd been entrusted with the most important mission in the world. Sarah grabbed several old blankets from the linen closet and spread them in the back of her SUV. Then came the nearly impossible task of moving the unconscious shepherd. Sarah tried lifting the dog herself, but the weight was too much. She was about to call her neighbor, retired Marine Jack Peterson, when Tommy spoke up again. "Wait, Mommy, tell her we're going to help. She needs to know." Sarah almost dismissed his words as childish logic, but something made her comply. She knelt beside the dog and spoke clearly, as if the animal could understand every word. "Hey there, beautiful girl. We're going to get you help, okay? We need to move you to the car, and it might hurt a little, but we promise we're trying to save you. Tommy and I won't let anything happen to you." What happened next would give Sarah chills for years to come. The dog's eyes fluttered open, deep brown pools filled with pain but also something else, something that looked remarkably like understanding. With what must have been every ounce of strength she possessed, the shepherd shifted slightly, as if trying to help, trying to make herself easier to move. "She heard you, Mommy. She knows we're the good guys." Together, through a combination of Sarah's strength and the dog's incredible will to cooperate despite her obvious agony, they managed to get her onto the blankets and into the vehicle. Tommy insisted on sitting in the back beside their unexpected patient, his small hand never leaving the dog's side. The drive to the animal hospital was the longest 15 minutes of Sarah's life. She kept glancing in the rearview mirror, watching her son continue his gentle ministrations, his humming never ceasing. The dog's breathing remained shallow, and Sarah feared they might not make it in time. But Tommy seemed completely confident, as if he possessed some secret knowledge that everything would be all right. "What should we name her, Mommy?" he asked suddenly. "Honey, we don't know if she has a family looking for her. She might already have a name. But what if she doesn't remember? What if she's scared and alone? Everyone needs a name so they know they matter." Sarah's eyes welled with tears. How had her little boy, who threw tantrums over bedtime and refused to eat his vegetables, become this wise, compassionate soul? "What would you like to call her?" Tommy thought for a moment, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Hope, because that's what she needs right now. Hope that someone will love her." They burst through the doors of the emergency animal hospital with the urgency of a critical care team, and within seconds, veterinary staff surrounded them with a stretcher. Dr. Rachel Kim, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and steady hands, took charge immediately. "We've got her now. You two did an amazing job getting her here. What can you tell me about her condition?" Sarah recounted the events while Tommy refused to let go of Hope's paw until a young veterinary technician named Marcus gently assured him that he'd take special care of their new friend. "I promise you, little man, we're going to do everything we can. Your doggy Hope is in the best hands." The waiting room became their temporary home for the next 2 hours. Tommy colored in a princess coloring book someone had left behind, occasionally looking up to ask Sarah if Hope was okay. Other pet owners came and went, some with happy outcomes, others with tears. Sarah checked her phone obsessively, though she wasn't sure who she was hoping would call. Finally, Drive, Kim emerged, her scrubs showing the evidence of intense work. Sarah stood so quickly she nearly knocked over her cold coffee. The doctor's expression was unreadable, and Sarah felt her stomach drop. "Your dog is stable, Drive," Kim began, and Sarah started to correct her, to explain that Hope wasn't actually theirs, but the doctor continued. "She was severely dehydrated, malnourished, and suffering from an infected wound on her left hind leg that had gone untreated for probably a week or more. She also has some old injuries consistent with abuse, healed rib fractures, scarring. This girl has been through hell." Tommy had appeared at Sarah's side, tugging on her sleeve. "But she's going to be okay now, right? Because we found her, and we brought her here, and you're going to fix her." "Doctor." Kim knelt down to Tommy's level, her professional demeanor softening. "You know what? I think you already started fixing her. When animals go through trauma like this, sometimes they just give up. But this girl, she fought. And I think she fought because someone showed her that the world still has good people in it. Someone like you. Can we see her?" The veterinarian nodded and led them to a recovery room where Hope lay on a cushioned mat, an IV line running into her front leg, her injured hind leg carefully bandaged. When Tommy entered, her tail managed a weak wag, just a few thumps against the mat, but it was enough to make the little boy's face light up like Christmas morning. Over the next several days, while the veterinary staff searched for Hope's owners through microchip databases and missing pet reports, Tommy and Sarah became regular visitors. Tommy would sit beside Hope's kennel, reading her stories from his picture books, telling her about his preschool adventures, sharing his theories about why dinosaurs were the coolest animals ever. And with each visit, Hope grew stronger, her eyes brighter, her tail more enthusiastic in its greeting. The search for Hope's original family yielded disturbing results. She had been reported missing 6 months ago by a family who had genuinely loved her, but she'd been stolen from their yard by someone who, according to police reports, had been running an illegal dog-fighting operation. Hope had managed to escape, and for weeks she'd survived on her own, likely traveling dozens of miles trying to find her way home. By the time she'd collapsed on Sarah's porch, she'd been at the absolute end of her endurance. When Hope's original family, the Johnsons, received the call that she'd been found, they drove 4 hours through the night to be reunited with their beloved companion. The scene at the veterinary hospital was something Sarah would treasure forever, the way Hope's entire body trembled with joy, the way she pressed herself against her family, the tears streaming down the faces of the Johnsons' teenage daughter who'd never given up hope of finding her. But what happened next surprised everyone. Mr. Johnson approached Tommy, who'd been standing quietly in the corner, looking both happy for Hope and heartbroken to say goodbye. "Son, my daughter Emily told me what you did, how you sat with Hope when she was dying, how you talked to her and made her feel safe. Dr. Kim said that your kindness might have been what gave her the will to keep fighting." Tommy nodded, trying to be brave even though tears were sliding down his cheeks. "I want you to know something important, Mr. Johnson continued, his own voice thick with emotion. "Hope is going to come home with us today, but she's not going to forget you. The love you showed her when she needed it most, that's the kind of love that changes lives. You gave a dying dog hope, and in doing so, you gave our whole family hope too. You're a hero, Tommy. A real one." The teenager, Emily, stepped forward and handed Tommy a photograph. "This is for you, so you can remember her. And if you want, maybe your mom could bring you to visit sometime. I think Hope would love that." 3 months later, Sarah's phone buzzed with a video message from the Johnsons. She called Tommy over to watch it together. The video showed Hope, healthy now, her coat gleaming, her eyes bright, running through a field with a little girl who looked to be about Tommy's age. The child's laughter rang out as Hope bounded around her, the picture of a healthy, happy dog who'd been given a second chance at life. "Look, Mommy," Tommy whispered, "Hope is teaching that little girl how to be kind too. Just like she taught us." And Sarah realized that her son was right. The German shepherd who had collapsed unconscious on their porch hadn't just been saved by Tommy's compassion, she'd become a living testament to the ripple effect of kindness. Tommy's simple act of sitting with a suffering animal, of offering comfort without expectation of reward, had set in motion a chain of events that touched everyone involved. That night, as Sarah tucked Tommy into bed, he looked up at her with those wise blue eyes and asked, "Mommy, do you think there are other doggies out there who need someone to sit with them? Other people too, people who are hurt and scared and just need someone to tell them it's going to be okay?" Sarah kissed his forehead, her heart swelling with a pride so fierce it almost hurt. "I think there are, honey. And I think the world is lucky to have people like you in it, people who don't look away when someone needs help, people who know that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is just be kind." As she turned off the light and closed the door, Sarah reflected on the profound lesson her 4-year-old had taught her. In a world that often seemed dark and complicated, Tommy had reminded her that heroism doesn't always look like what we expect. Sometimes it looks like a little boy in dinosaur pajamas, sitting on a porch with a dying dog, offering nothing but his presence and his compassion. And sometimes, that simple act of kindness is enough to save not just one life, but to restore faith in humanity itself. Hope hadn't just survived that day, she'd thrived. And in doing so, she'd proven what Tommy had somehow always known, that love, even from the smallest hands, has the power to heal the deepest wounds.